In the deepest part of the forest, far beyond where the rivers flow and the grass grows tall and soft, there lived a place where dreams settled each night like morning dew, under the starlit canopy, where every leaf whispered stories of wonder and rest. The trees were tall and wise, their branches stretching gently into the sky, holding stars like ornaments, as if the universe itself leaned down to tuck the forest Indiana. The wind moved slowly there, not rushing or roaring, but drifting like a lullaby, brushing against leaves and sending them into the softest dance. Beneath this canopy, where moonlight slid between the trees in silvery threads, the creatures of the forest began to settle. A small squirrel finished her last scamper, curling up in her hollow tree with a tiny acorn clutched close to her chest. A family of foxes yawned in their den, their fur glowing golden in the moon's quiet light, while nearby, a hedgehog nestled into a cushion of moss, its tiny snores blending with the hum of distant crickets. Fireflies floated through the air, blinking like sleepy stars drifting closer to Earth, their glow softening the dark and lighting a gentle path through the trees. Overhead, the stars blinked back, watching quietly, as if proud of the peace they were helping to create. A young fawn wandered in from a grassy meadow, her hooves light and careful, ears twitching at the soft lull of an owl's hoot. She found a quiet spot beside a cluster of glowing mushrooms and slowly folded her legs, her breath already slowing, her eyes drifting closed. The river nearby moved like melted glass, trickling through smooth stones, whispering songs it had carried for centuries, and in the soft curve of its bank, a raccoon curled into a ball beneath a weeping willow, lulled by the gentle splash of water. The air smelled of lavender and earth, of fallen leaves and clean wind, and the whole world seemed wrapped in a warm, invisible blanket. Even the old trees seemed to exhale, their branches lowering just slightly, as if sighing into slumber themselves. The stars, shimmering brighter now, cast their light down like quiet promises of dreams to come, and in that light, something magical happened. Every breath taken was slower, every movement softer, every sound a note in the forest's song of sleep. A family of rabbits, tucked into a burrow beneath a berry bush, dreamed of open fields and sunlit mornings, while above them, an owl blinked slowly from a high perch, keeping watch like a guardian of dreams. Not far away, a turtle with a shell like polished stone rested beside a tree root, his eyes closed as he swayed gently with the rhythm of the earth. All around, nature whispered, in the rustle of branches, the flutter of moth wings, the faint sigh of the wind carrying the sense of flowers not yet awake. The night deepened, but not with darkness, with peace. A feeling of stillness wrapped the forest like the softest lullaby, a song with no words and no end. The stars stayed to listen, and the moon lingered overhead, casting her loving gaze on every sleepy creature. And so, under that quiet sky, beneath the sheltering arms of trees older than memory, where the starlit canopy whispered gentle stories to all who listened, the forest fell asleep, slowly and completely, dreaming together under the watchful eyes of the night. In a quiet corner of the world, where wildflowers bloomed in soft waves and the grass never stopped swaying, lived a little mouse named Milo, who loved nothing more than peaceful nighttime adventures. Milo was small, soft-furred, and full of gentle curiosity. Unlike other mice who scurried about with hurried steps, Milo enjoyed taking his time, moving slowly and carefully under the cover of the moonlit sky. Every night, as the moon rose high and the stars blinked down like tiny lanterns, Milo would quietly slip out of his cozy home, nestled deep beneath a tree root. He would stretch, yawn, and then begin his nightly stroll through the meadow, where everything lay still, and the world was bathed in the soft glow of moonlight. But what Milo loved most about these peaceful nights was the midnight dew. To him, the dew was like a magical gift from the sky, a gentle touch of nature that made the whole meadow sparkle as if stars had fallen and settled on every blade of grass, petal, and leaf. Each dewdrop seemed to carry a story of the heavens, whispered softly to the earth below. As Milo wandered, he marveled at the way the dew hung from the tips of the grass like tiny, delicate jewels, and he often paused to sip from the cool drops that rested on leaves, feeling the refreshing chill on his tiny tongue. To Milo, the dew tasted like a dream, soft and sweet, and it made his heart feel lighter. As he moved deeper into the meadow, the world around him seemed to come alive in a quiet way. The distant hum of crickets filled the air, a soft chorus that blended perfectly with the rustling of the leaves as they danced lazily in the wind. Fireflies floated by, their soft glow illuminating the path ahead of him, casting magical light on the grass and flowers around him. Everything around him felt gentle and serene. The world seemed to be holding its breath, slowing down to let the night take its peaceful course. Milo loved these moments, where time seemed to stand still. He greeted the sleeping daisy blossoms, which were closed up tight for the night, and nodded to the large mossy rocks that stood like silent sentinels in the meadow. As he tiptoed past a family of beetles huddled beneath a fallen leaf, he smiled and whispered a quiet good night to them. The soft breeze carried the scent of fresh flowers and earth, and the moon, high above, bathed everything in a silver glow that felt comforting and safe. Milo walked on, his tiny feet barely making a sound on the soft ground. He had a favorite spot in the meadow, a small hill with a hollow at the top where the dew gathered in sparkling pools. As he reached the top of the hill, Milo stopped and looked around. The view from here was breathtaking. The entire meadow stretched out beneath him, bathed in the soft light of the moon, and the stars above seemed to wink at him, like old friends sharing secrets. Milo carefully lowered himself into the hollow, where the dew pooled like a tiny silver lake. He nestled into the soft moss, his small body curling into a cozy ball. The air was cool and fresh, and the wind sang through the tall grass, carrying with it a lullaby that seemed to come from the heart of the earth itself. Milo's eyes fluttered as he listened to the gentle sounds of the night. The crickets sang their slow, peaceful song, and the leaves rustled in a quiet rhythm like nature's heartbeat. He yawned softly, his little paws tucked under his chin, and let out a contented sigh. The world around him felt so safe, so perfect, and as he closed his eyes, he felt the cool dew surrounding him like a soft blanket. The stars twinkled above, casting their quiet light on Milo, and the moon smiled down, watching over him. With a final sleepy sigh, Milo drifted off into a dream, where the midnight dew danced in the air like stars, and the night was always gentle and kind. And so, under the soft glow of the stars and the watchful eye of the moon, Milo the mouse slept soundly, wrapped in the peace of the meadow and carried by the whispers of the midnight dew. On a quiet hill bathed in the soft glow of the moon, there lived a fox unlike any other. A fox who carried a lantern made of golden light wherever she went. Her name was Lyra, and she was known across the forest as the Lantern Fox of Moonlight Hill. Every night, as the moon climbed high into the sky, casting its gentle light over the sleeping world, Lyra would set out from her cozy den nestled at the foot of the hill, her lantern flickering like a tiny star in the darkness. The lantern wasn't an ordinary one. It glowed with a soft, warm light that seemed to shimmer with magic, casting gentle beams that made the night feel like a dream. Lyra's lantern had the power to guide lost creatures, to light their way when the path ahead seemed too dark or uncertain. The forest animals would often seek her out, knowing that with her lantern, they could find their way through the night's shadows. But Lyra wasn't just a guide for others. Her lantern was also her companion. The light it gave off filled the air around her with a soft, peaceful glow that made everything feel safe and calm. On nights when the stars were hidden behind clouds, Lyra's lantern would still shine brightly, its light spilling over the hilltop, making the trees stand tall and strong, their leaves whispering in the breeze. Sometimes, the light would reflect off the silver leaves of the willow trees, casting delicate shadows that danced across the hill, and the soft hum of crickets would fill the air with a gentle melody. Lyra would walk through the tall grass, her paws light and silent on the earth, moving with the grace of the night itself. Her fur, soft and sleek, seemed to shimmer in the lantern's glow, and her bright, curious eyes would scan the horizon, watching for any creatures that might need her help. But most of all, Lyra loved the stillness of the night, the quiet beauty of the hill as it lay beneath the stars. She would often stop at the top of Moonlight Hill, her lantern casting a soft glow on the stones beneath her paws. From here, she could see the entire forest, stretching out below, with the silver ribbon of the river winding through it like a dream. The stars above twinkled, and the moon shone with a peaceful, steady light, as if watching over her. And it was here, at the top of the hill, where Lyra would pause to rest, her lantern lighting up the night around her. The soft breeze would carry the sweet scent of flowers from the meadow below, and the leaves would rustle gently in the trees, as if whispering secrets only the night could understand. The world would feel so quiet, so still, and Lyra would close her eyes for a moment, letting the peacefulness of the night wash over her. Sometimes, she would dream while awake, dreaming of faraway lands where the moon shone brighter and the stars were closer. And as she sat there, bathed in the lantern's warm glow, she knew that her light was a gift, not just for the creatures of the forest, but for herself too. It was a reminder that even in the darkest nights, there was always light to guide the way, always peace to be found in the stillness of the world. With the lantern's light flickering softly beside her, Lyra would finally curl up beneath the ancient oak tree, her tail wrapped around her paws, and drift off into a deep, peaceful sleep, knowing that tomorrow's moon would rise, and she would once again be the lantern bearer, lighting the way for all those who needed it. And as she slept, the gentle glow of the lantern would continue to shine, casting soft beams of light over Moonlight Hill, guiding the way through the night. High above the quiet world, where the night sky stretched endlessly, there was a meadow nestled in the heart of a soft valley, where the stars shone a little brighter and the air was always filled with the scent of lavender and fresh grass. In the middle of this meadow, a little bird named Tessa made her home. But Tessa wasn't like other birds. She had a secret, a special gift that made her unique. Every evening, as the sun began to dip behind the hills and the stars started to twinkle above, Tessa would gather the softest feathers she could find, plucking them gently from the trees that whispered around her meadow. These feathers weren't ordinary feathers. They were magical, as light as a whisper and as soft as a dream. She would arrange them carefully, forming a soft, fluffy pillow on the soft grass beneath the sky. And it was this pillow, made of feathers and the promise of the stars above, that Tessa would curl up upon each night. As she lay on her feather pillow, she would look up at the sky, watching as the stars began to fall, one by one, in streaks of light that shimmered as they crossed the sky. These were not ordinary falling stars. They were the dreams of the night, slipping down from the heavens and landing softly on the earth, where they could rest in the hearts of those who believed in their magic. Tessa loved these stars more than anything. Each falling star carried a dream, a wish, a thought from far, far away, and she knew that if she caught them in her heart, they would fill her sleep with peaceful dreams. As she lay there, her feathers gently rustling in the soft night breeze, Tessa would close her eyes, letting the gentle light from the falling stars fill her heart with warmth and calm. The stars would twinkle above, like the most delicate of jewels, and the wind would sing softly through the trees, creating a lullaby of whispers that would carry Tessa into a peaceful sleep. The pillow of feathers beneath her felt as soft as a cloud, and she would sink deeper into its comforting embrace with each soft breath. As she drifted into dreams, Tessa imagined soaring through the sky with the falling stars, catching them like fireflies and weaving them into the softest blankets of light. In her dreams, she flew over the meadow, past the quiet hills and sleepy valleys, the stars above her and the soft wind beneath her wings. She could hear the soft hum of the night, the cricket's lullaby, and the gentle rustling of the leaves as the world around her slept. Tessa knew that as long as she had her pillow of feathers and the falling stars to guide her dreams, she would always be safe, always be at peace. In the stillness of the night, with the stars twinkling above and the soft whispers of the trees surrounding her, Tessa knew that this was the world she was meant to be in, a world where dreams were as real as the stars above, and peace was a blanket that wrapped the entire earth. And so, as the stars continued to fall and the gentle breeze carried the scent of the meadow, Tessa fell deeper into sleep, her heart full of dreams, her body resting on a pillow of the softest feathers. The stars whispered their secrets to her as she drifted off, and she knew that tomorrow, when the sun rose again, she would wake with the joy of the stars still sparkling in her heart. On the edge of a tranquil lake, where the water sparkled like a mirror under the soft afternoon sun, lived a little rabbit named Nora, who adored taking naps by the cotton-like shores. The lake, known to all the forest creatures as Cotton Lake, was named for the fluffy, white clouds that often gathered above it, drifting lazily across the sky like soft cotton balls. The air was always fresh here, filled with the scent of wildflowers and the gentle rustle of leaves from the trees that stood tall and wise around the water. Every day, when the sun reached its highest point in the sky, Nora would find her favorite spot on the soft grass near the water's edge. The grass was always cool and inviting, a perfect bed for an afternoon nap. Nora would stretch her little paws, yawn, and then curl up in a cozy ball, her soft fur blending with the gentle breeze that whispered through the tall reeds by the shore. As she closed her eyes, the world around her seemed to quiet, as if even the trees and the wind were whispering soft lullabies just for her. The water in Cotton Lake glistened in the sunlight, creating ripples that danced and shimmered like diamonds, and the reflections of the fluffy clouds above painted the water with soft, dreamy patterns. Nora would listen to the gentle lapping of the water against the shore, its rhythm like the soothing heartbeat of the world, and feel the soft breeze as it played with her fur. Every now and then, a dragonfly would flit by, its delicate wings shimmering like the stars, and Nora would smile softly in her sleep, knowing that the day was perfect for a nap. The forest around the lake was quiet and peaceful, with only the occasional rustling of leaves or the soft chirp of a bird high in the trees to break the silence. Nora's naps were never rushed, always slow and easy, like the warm, endless days of summer. As she lay there, her little body rising and falling gently with each breath, she dreamed of the softest clouds and the gentle sway of the lake. In her dreams, she would hop from one cotton-like cloud to another, floating peacefully across a sky painted in shades of pink and gold. The breeze would carry her through fields of flowers, and the water of the lake would sparkle as she danced on its surface. Sometimes, in her dreams, Nora would find herself swimming in the lake, the water cool and refreshing as she paddled beneath the surface, surrounded by the soft blue of the sky and the clear, shining water. But always, No matter where her dreams took her, Nora would wake feeling warm and peaceful, as if the entire world had wrapped her in a gentle embrace. And when the sun began to set, casting long shadows over the lake, Nora would slowly wake from her nap, stretching her little paws and blinking in the soft, golden light. She would sit up, her ears twitching, and look around at the peaceful world around her, feeling the calm of the lake settle into her heart. The fluffy clouds in the sky would start to turn soft shades of pink and purple, and the water would shimmer like glass, reflecting the beautiful colors of the evening. With a contented sigh, Nora would hop off the soft grass and make her way back to her cozy burrow, her heart full of the peace and quiet she had found by the cotton lake, knowing that tomorrow, when the sun was high again, she would return to the lake for another perfect nap. On a cool, quiet evening, when the stars began to peek out one by one from the dark sky, there was a small creek that ran gently through the heart of the forest. This creek was known as Quiet Creek, for it moved with the softest of murmurs, as though it was whispering secrets to the earth and the trees that stood along its banks. The water sparkled under the moon's soft gaze, casting shimmering ripples that danced like silver threads through the darkened forest. The moon, large and full, hung high in the sky like a watchful guardian, casting a blanket of gentle light over the creek and the land around it. The air was crisp and fresh, carrying with it the sweet scent of pine and earth, and everything was wrapped in a peaceful hush that seemed to slow the world down. Near the creek, a small owl named Olwen made her home in the hollow of an ancient oak tree. Olwen loved these quiet nights, when the moon shone brightly and the creek whispered soft lullabies that carried her into deep, restful sleep. On nights like these, she would perch on the branch of her tree, gazing out at the water below, where the moon's light painted a soft path across the surface. It was here, under the moon's gentle blanket of light, that Olwen felt most at peace. The world seemed to pause in that serene moment, the sounds of the forest blending into a melody that was both calming and sweet. As the breeze carried the soft rustling of the leaves, Olwen would close her eyes for a moment, letting the peacefulness of the night fill her heart. The creek, so soft and steady, would sing its quiet song, its water gliding over smooth stones and splashing gently over pebbles, while the moon above watched over it all, its light wrapping everything in a silvery glow. The stars, twinkling like tiny diamonds, added their gentle light to the night, and everything seemed to shine, as if the world itself was wrapped in a soft, glowing blanket. Olwen, with her soft feathers and kind heart, loved to sit there, feeling the warmth of the moon's glow as it bathed the creek in silver light. Sometimes, she would swoop down to the water's edge, her wings slicing through the cool night air, and dip her feet into the gentle stream, feeling the coolness of the water and listening to its peaceful murmur. It was as if the creek was singing a lullaby just for her, its rhythm steady and comforting, carrying her into a deep, peaceful slumber. As she sat there by the water, the quiet sounds of the forest, the soft rustling of the leaves, the chirp of a distant cricket, all blended together in a symphony of calm. She could hear the soft hoot of an owl in the distance, and the whisper of a fox's tail through the grass, but nothing was hurried or loud. Everything was in harmony, everything was at rest. The moon above, in all its shining beauty, seemed to know that the night was a time for rest, a time for dreams. It settled lower in the sky as the hours passed, its light still gentle and kind, casting a blanket over the quiet creek and everything it touched. As the night deepened, Olwen would finally return to her tree, her feathers soft and her eyes heavy with sleep. She would nestle into the cozy hollow, feeling the warmth of her home and the peace of the night surround her. With the moon's blanket still glowing softly over the creek, Olwen would close her eyes and drift into a dream, carried away by the lullaby of the creek and the gentle light of the moon above, knowing that tomorrow night, when the moon rose again, it would be there to blanket the world in its quiet, peaceful glow. In the heart of a deep, enchanted forest, where the trees whispered ancient stories and the night air was always filled with the scent of pine and moss, lived a small fox named Lumi. Lumi had a special gift. Her fur shimmered in the moonlight, glowing with a soft, silvery light that made her look like a little star wandering through the forest. Every night, when the stars began to twinkle above and the moon climbed high into the sky, Lumi would venture out from her cozy den, her paws light on the soft earth, as she made her way through the quiet woods. The forest was always peaceful at night, with only the soft hoots of owls echoing through the trees, their eyes glowing like little lanterns. These owls, known as the dreaming owls, were wise and old, and they had the magical ability to carry dreams in their wings. As Lumi walked beneath the towering trees, the owls would fly silently overhead, their wings creating soft whispers in the night air. The dreaming owls would often pause at the tallest tree, where their nests sat hidden among the leaves. From there, they would look down at the world below, and Lumi, with her shimmering fur, would sometimes catch a glimpse of their soft golden eyes watching over her. The dreaming owls had a unique power. They could gather the sweetest dreams and weave them into the softest light, filling the night with a peaceful glow that helped all the creatures of the forest fall into a deep, restful sleep. Lumi loved to walk under the owl's light, for it made her feel safe and peaceful, and as she wandered deeper into the forest, the owls would fly above her, their wings gently brushing the air, leaving behind a trail of soft, glowing stardust that filled the forest with a warm, calming light. Lumi's favorite part of the night was when she would reach the clearing by the old oak tree, where the owls would often land. The oak tree was the heart of the forest, its ancient branches reaching high into the sky, and its roots spreading deep into the earth. Here, the dreaming owls would settle, their wings folded gracefully, their eyes closed in gentle slumber as they dreamed the dreams of the forest. Lumi would curl up beneath the oak, her tail wrapped around her paws, and she would gaze up at the owls, feeling their soft, glowing light fill her heart with calm. The owls' dreams would drift down like gentle raindrops, and Lumi would close her eyes, letting the light of their dreams wash over her, carrying her into a peaceful sleep. As she rested, the soft glow of the owl's light would fill the clearing, making everything feel warm and safe. The air would grow still, and the forest around her would be hushed as if it too were resting. In her dreams, Lumi would soar through the sky with the dreaming owls, her fur shining like the stars as they flew together over the forest, their wings moving in perfect harmony with the breeze. They would glide past the tallest trees, their eyes sparkling with the wisdom of 1,000 dreams, and Lumi would feel free and light, as if the very air was made of dreams. And when the night grew deeper and the first light of dawn began to rise over the horizon, Lumi would slowly wake, stretching her paws and blinking her eyes in the soft, golden light. The owls would still be asleep, their wings folded gently, and the forest would be quiet once again, bathed in the warm glow of morning. With a contented sigh, Lumi would stand and make her way back to her den, her heart full of the peace and magic of the night. She knew that tomorrow, when the moon rose again, the dreaming owls would return, and she would once again be surrounded by their gentle light, carrying her into the sweetest dreams. In a hidden grove deep within the forest, where the air was thick with the scent of earth and dew, there stood a cluster of large mushrooms. These weren't ordinary mushrooms, though. Their caps were wide and flat, like umbrellas, and they glowed softly with a warm, golden light, casting gentle beams that bathed the grove in a peaceful, dreamlike glow. It was here, under the mushrooms, where the creatures of the forest gathered to rest and dream together. On most nights, the grove was quiet, the only sounds being the soft rustling of the leaves and the gentle hum of the crickets. A little hedgehog named Tilly had discovered the magic of these mushrooms one evening, and ever since, she had made them her special place to sleep. She would curl up under the largest mushroom, its soft light surrounding her like a protective blanket, and there, she would drift off into a peaceful slumber. The mushrooms, it seemed, had a magical power. When you slept under them, your dreams were filled with the same soft light that shone from their caps, and every dream felt warm, safe, and full of wonder. Tilly loved to share this special place with her friends, and soon, other creatures of the forest began to join her. There was Finley the rabbit, who loved to hop around the grove before curling up beside Tilly. There was also Lily the squirrel, who would snuggle close to the mushrooms, her bushy tail wrapped around her paws. And every now and then, even the wise old owl, Hoot, would come to rest under the mushrooms, his feathers glowing softly in the light of the caps. Together, they would sleep peacefully, their hearts full of the calm energy that the mushrooms provided. The dreams they shared were always full of adventure and magic. They would dream of flying through the skies, their paws and tails fluttering like feathers as they soared among the stars. They would dream of traveling through forests filled with giant flowers that whispered secrets in the breeze, or of playing in meadows where the flowers bloomed in a rainbow of colors. Sometimes, the dreams were even more magical, dreams where the animals could understand the songs of the wind, or hear the stories of the trees, ancient and wise. Every time the creatures woke, they felt as if their spirits had been refreshed by the dreams they shared under the mushrooms. The morning light would slowly creep into the grove, gently warming the earth, but the mushroom's glow would linger a little longer, as though the dreams were still floating in the air. Tilly would stretch her little paws, feeling the softness of the earth beneath her, and open her eyes to find her friends waking as well. They would smile at one another, their hearts still full of the dreams they had shared, and then slowly, one by one, they would make their way back to their homes, feeling light and happy, as if the magic of the mushrooms had followed them. The mushrooms themselves would stand tall in the grove, their caps glowing softly, waiting for the next night when the creatures would return to dream again. And when the sun set and the night air grew cool, the animals would gather once more, finding comfort and warmth under the mushrooms, knowing that together, they would dream of the wonders of the world, in a place where the magic of friendship and the glow of the mushrooms would always keep them safe and at peace. One crisp, clear night, when the stars twinkled like little diamonds against the dark, velvety sky, a curious little bear named Toby stood at the edge of the forest, looking up. The moon hung high above, casting a gentle silver glow that bathed the world in soft light. Toby had always loved the night, but tonight felt different. There was a pull in the air, a soft calling that seemed to invite him to go beyond the familiar forest, up into the vast, sparkling sky. Without a second thought, Toby decided to follow the pull, and to his surprise, the ground beneath him softened, like a cloud lifting him off the earth. He floated up into the air, his little paws stretching toward the stars as the world below grew smaller and smaller. The night sky was a deep velvet blue, dotted with stars that twinkled like tiny lanterns lighting the way. Toby felt weightless, as if he were part of the sky itself, floating freely among the stars. The gentle breeze of the night carried him higher, and as he drifted, he could hear the soft whispers of the stars, like a lullaby sung just for him. His journey through the velvet sky was peaceful, and he felt no fear, only a deep sense of wonder. The stars seemed to guide him, their soft light painting the path ahead. Toby's heart fluttered with joy as he passed through clouds that shimmered with silver and white, like soft pillows that he could almost reach out and touch. Each cloud felt like a soft embrace, wrapping him in warmth as he sailed through the sky. He soared past constellations, some familiar and some new, their shapes telling ancient stories of the heavens. The moon, glowing brightly above him, smiled down, its gentle light giving him the courage to keep going. As he journeyed further into the sky, Toby began to feel sleepy, but it was a peaceful kind of sleepiness, the kind that comes from feeling safe and cared for. The stars whispered to him, their voices gentle and soothing, telling him stories of the night and of far-off lands. The moon, too, seemed to hum a soft lullaby, and soon, Toby's eyes grew heavy. He found a soft cloud to rest on, curling up like a cozy ball, his fur blending with the soft light of the moon. The cloud was warm, and as he lay there, Toby felt his heart slow and his breaths become deeper and more relaxed. His journey through the velvet sky had been magical, but now, it was time to rest. The stars above twinkled more softly as if they, too, were tucking Toby in for the night. The breeze around him became even gentler, whispering him into a peaceful sleep. As Toby closed his eyes, the world around him seemed to fade away, and he drifted into a dream, floating weightlessly among the stars. He dreamed of adventures in the sky, of riding the winds and dancing with the clouds, of exploring galaxies far beyond his little world. The sky became his playground, and with each dream, he soared higher and higher, always safe under the velvet sky. When Toby woke, the sky was still dark, but the soft light of the stars and the moon still surrounded him, wrapping him in warmth and comfort. He stretched his paws, feeling the soft cloud beneath him, and smiled. The velvet sky, with its endless wonders, had shown him that sometimes, journeys don't have to end when you fall asleep. As the stars continued to twinkle above, Toby closed his eyes once more, feeling the soft embrace of the sky, ready to dream again and to continue his journey through the velvet night, knowing that the sky would always be there to guide him. In a quiet corner of the forest, hidden away beneath a tangle of vines and soft, mossy stones, there was a secret garden that only a few knew about. This garden belonged to a little snail named Suri. Suri was a gentle soul, always moving slowly, savoring every moment as it passed. Her shell, a beautiful swirl of soft greens and browns, shone under the sunlight as she glided along the cool, damp earth. The secret garden was her favorite place to rest, and it was here, tucked away from the bustling world, that she would often drift into peaceful sleep. The garden was filled with flowers in every color imaginable, their petals gently swaying in the breeze, creating a soft hum that filled the air with a peaceful melody. Tiny mushrooms dotted the ground, their caps glowing faintly in the moonlight, casting a soft, magical glow across the garden. A small pond with crystal-clear water sat in the middle of the garden, its surface reflecting the sky above, and the air smelled sweet with the fragrance of wildflowers. It was the perfect place for Suri to relax, for the garden was calm, still, and filled with the softest sounds of nature. Every evening, as the sun began to set and the sky turned a deep shade of purple, Suri would make her way to her favorite spot in the garden, a small bed of soft moss near the pond, where she would curl up and prepare to sleep. She loved the way the cool evening breeze would rustle the leaves above her, and the gentle sounds of the forest settling down for the night always made her feel safe and cozy. The stars would twinkle above, and sometimes, if she was lucky, the moon would shine brightly, its silvery light spilling into the garden, adding to the magic of the night. As Suri lay there, surrounded by the soft fragrance of flowers and the sounds of the peaceful night, She would close her eyes and let the world around her fade away. The gentle rustling of the leaves, the soft croak of a frog in the distance, and the hum of crickets all created a lullaby that would guide her into a deep, peaceful sleep. The secret garden was a place where dreams bloomed like the flowers around her, and as she slept, Suri would dream of flying above the trees, her shell shining like a little star in the night sky, drifting through the soft clouds. She would dream of swimming in the clear pond, her tiny feet brushing the cool water, and of playing with the butterflies that fluttered around the flowers. Sometimes, her dreams would take her to faraway lands, where the trees were taller and the flowers were even brighter, but no matter where her dreams took her, she always felt peaceful and at ease, as though the secret garden was holding her close in its gentle embrace. And when the first rays of dawn began to filter through the trees, Suri would slowly wake, stretching her little body and blinking her eyes. The garden would still be calm, bathed in the soft light of morning, and the flowers would begin to stir as the sun's warmth reached them. With a contented sigh, Suri would slowly get up, her shell glistening in the sunlight, and take one last look at her beautiful garden before she made her way back to her cozy home. She knew that as the day passed, the secret garden would still be there, waiting for her to return that evening, when the moon would rise once again, and the garden would fill with the soft glow of its light. And so, each night, Suri would return to her secret garden, where the world seemed to slow down, and where she could rest in peace, knowing that in her little corner of the forest, everything was just as it should be. As the moon rose high over the sleepy town, casting a soft silver glow over the rooftops and streets below, a gentle breeze began to stir the leaves of the trees, whispering secrets of the night. In the heart of the town, nestled between cozy cottages and flower-filled gardens, stood a small chapel. Its tall spire reached towards the sky, and from its belfry, the soft sound of the night bells could be heard every evening, ringing out in peaceful echoes that filled the air with calm. For the creatures and people who lived nearby, the sound of the bells was a lullaby, a reminder that the world was slowing down, and it was time to rest. Each night, as the bells chimed, the soft notes floated through the air like gentle ripples on a pond, echoing through the streets and into the hearts of all who listened. It was a sound that brought comfort, a reminder that no matter what happened during the day, the night would always arrive with its soft embrace, bringing peace to all. The little owl, Oliver, perched on his favorite branch of a tall oak tree just outside the chapel, would close his eyes every time he heard the bells, letting the sound wash over him like a warm, soothing blanket. The bells echoed through the forest, too, and as they traveled, they seemed to calm the leaves, making them rustle less and allowing the night to settle into stillness. The rabbits, foxes, and deer who lived nearby would pause in their evening activities, feeling the quieting influence of the bells, and soon they would return to their dens, their burrows, and their cozy corners in the woods, ready to sleep soundly through the night. For the children in the town, the bells were a signal that it was time for bed, and they would snuggle into their blankets, their eyes fluttering shut, as the gentle chimes carried them into the land of dreams. They dreamed of the night sky, of starry adventures, and of peaceful meadows where the air was filled with the sweet scent of flowers and the soft hum of the evening breeze. Even the flowers seemed to sleep more soundly beneath the sound of the bells, their petals closing gently, as if tucking themselves in for the night. Every evening, as the bells rang, a sense of calm settled over the town and the forest, and all who heard the sound felt the weight of the day lift from their shoulders. It was as if the bells had the power to carry away the worries and noise of the world, replacing them with a deep sense of peace. The chapel stood proudly under the glowing moon, its bells swinging gently in the breeze, sending their echoes out into the quiet night, filling the air with a melody that only the most peaceful hearts could truly hear. And as the last chime faded into the distance, everything became still, bathed in the soft light of the moon, with only the gentle rustling of leaves and the quiet hum of the night left behind. The echoes of the gentle night bells continued to ring in the hearts of all who had heard them, long after the sound had faded. They carried the promise of another peaceful night, another opportunity for rest, and another chance to listen to the world's quiet song, a song that was always there, if only one would take a moment to hear it. As the soft orange glow of the setting sun dipped below the horizon, the air grew cooler, and the world around drowsy dock began to settle into a gentle quiet. The dock was small but cozy, tucked away by the edge of a shimmering, peaceful lake. The water lapped gently against the wooden posts, and the dock itself was surrounded by tall, waving grasses that whispered with the wind. Here, every evening, something magical happened. As night crept in and the stars began to twinkle above, the fireflies would appear, lighting up the air with their soft, glowing lights. They flickered like tiny lanterns, guiding the way to the Firefly Ferry, a small wooden boat that sat waiting at the dock, its smooth surface glowing faintly in the firefly light. The Firefly Ferry was no ordinary boat. It had been built with a touch of magic, and its lanterns, shaped like delicate fireflies, glowed brighter as the night deepened. This boat had a special job. It ferried sleepy travelers across the lake to the faraway island where dreams were born. As dusk turned to night, the ferry would gently sway in the calm water, ready for its journey. No one knew exactly how the ferry worked, but it seemed that all the creatures who lived near Drowsy Dock knew it was time to board as the last light of the sun faded. The soft sound of wings fluttering filled the air as tiny creatures like moths and beetles hopped aboard, each finding a cozy spot on the ferry's wooden seats. A little bunny named Bee, with soft fur and long ears, was the first to board that evening. She had always loved the Firefly Ferry, for it was the only way to travel to the Dream Island, where she could visit all her favorite dream gardens. Tonight, she had a feeling that something special awaited her there, so she made her way down the dock, her tiny paws tapping gently on the wooden planks. As she stepped aboard the ferry, she was joined by her good friend, Oliver the Owl, whose feathers shimmered in the firefly light. The gentle boat swayed and rocked as the fireflies led the way, their soft glow casting a peaceful golden light over the lake. Slowly, the ferry began to glide across the water, leaving Drowsy Dock behind. Bee and Oliver settled into their seats, feeling the soft, cool breeze as they drifted along. The stars above reflected on the water, their twinkling light dancing with the glow of the fireflies. The sounds of the lake, soft splashes and the distant calls of crickets, became the lullaby of the night. Bee's eyelids grew heavy, and soon her tiny body was leaning against Oliver, who was already half asleep. The journey to Dream Island was always a peaceful one, and before long, Bee was dreaming of fields of lavender and sparkling streams, where the flowers would sing gentle lullabies to her as she drifted through the air on a breeze made of moonlight. Oliver, too, dozed off, his feathers soft against the wooden bench of the ferry. The fireflies, guiding the boat with their glow, seemed to carry them faster and faster, as if the night was eager to embrace them. As the Firefly Ferry sailed across the lake, its soft glow lighting the way, Drowsy Dock faded from sight, and the peaceful journey continued. The ferry drifted smoothly, taking its sleepy passengers toward the island where dreams awaited, its soft lights shining like beacons in the quiet night. By the time the ferry arrived at Dream Island, Bee and Oliver were deep in sleep, their hearts light and full of peace. The ferry gently came to a stop on the soft shores of the island, its glowing lanterns dimming as it rested for the night. The fireflies continued to flutter around, casting soft, golden lights in the dark, and the soft sounds of Dream Island filled the air. The travelers would wake in the morning to find themselves in the heart of their dreams, refreshed and ready for new adventures. But for now, all was still and quiet, with only the soft light of the fireflies and the gentle lap of the water to keep them company, as the Firefly Ferry rested, ready to begin its journey once again when the next night came. High above the sleepy town, where the stars whispered secrets to the night, the sky held a special kind of magic. A magic that belonged to the soft, fluffy clouds that drifted lazily across the dark canvas of the heavens. Each night, when the moon shone brightly, the clouds would gather in a quiet, swirling dance, as though preparing for something extraordinary. In a cozy little meadow, just on the edge of the town, a small girl named Lila lay in the tall grass, gazing up at the sky. Lila had a special gift. She could fold her wishes into little pieces of cloud paper, each one soft and delicate, like the clouds themselves. Every evening, before she went to sleep, Lila would look up at the sky and think of her dreams, her hopes, and her wishes. She would close her eyes, gently fold a wish in her hands, and whisper it into the night. The soft clouds would listen, wrapping her wishes in their delicate folds, and send them high into the sky. Each wish would flutter like a gentle bird, riding the wind, until it found its place in the clouds above. As the evening deepened, the stars began to twinkle, and the clouds turned a shade of soft lavender and rose, as if they, too, were quietly listening to Lila's wishes. Her wishes were simple, but they were always filled with hope, wishes for happiness, for kind hearts, and for the peace of a good night's sleep. Some nights, her wishes would become soft, glowing stars, twinkling brightly above, while other times, they would weave themselves into the fabric of the clouds, adding to the beauty of the night sky. Tonight, as Lila lay back, the wind whispered softly in her ear, and she knew it was time to send her wishes into the sky once more. With a smile, she closed her eyes, thinking of a world where dreams came true, where kindness bloomed like flowers in every corner, and where every night was as peaceful as the one she was about to fall into. She folded her wish carefully, the paper light as a feather, and held it in her hands, feeling its soft edges. Then, with a deep breath, she whispered her wish to the gentle breeze, watching as the cloud paper lifted into the air, fluttering like a soft butterfly. The clouds above stretched and shifted, catching the wish and carrying it away, high into the sky where it would join the stars. Lila closed her eyes, feeling the weight of the day gently lift from her shoulders, and she nestled into the grass, the soft whisper of the night air lulling her into a deep, peaceful sleep. The clouds continued their dance in the sky, gently unfolding and folding again, holding Lila's wish and many others in their tender care. They glowed softly, bathed in the moonlight, as if the sky itself was holding a secret, one that would only be revealed in dreams. As the night deepened, the stars sparkled brighter, each one carrying a wish, and Lila, floating on a sea of peaceful dreams, knew that her wish had been heard. It was folded gently in the cloud paper, drifting through the sky, finding its place among the stars, waiting for the perfect moment to come true. The world slept beneath the soft cover of the night, and Lila, with her heart full of hope, dreamed sweet dreams, wrapped in the magic of the wishes she had folded into the clouds, knowing that each night, when the stars twinkled above, her wishes would always be carried on the wind, folded in cloud paper and sent to the sky. One calm evening, as the sun dipped behind the hills and the stars began to sparkle softly in the sky, Finn, a small boy with a heart full of wonder, stood at the edge of the meadow, staring up at the horizon. He had heard stories of a magical train, one that didn't travel on tracks, but instead floated gently through the air, guided by the wisps of clouds that danced lazily in the evening breeze. This train was no ordinary train. It was the Fuzzy Sky Train, a dreamy, cloud-covered vessel that took passengers on journeys through the stars, over mountains, and across the soft, glowing landscapes of dreams. Finn had always dreamed of riding the Fuzzy Sky Train, and tonight, it seemed his wish might finally come true. As the evening deepened, a soft hum filled the air, and to Finn's delight, he saw the train appearing from the horizon, its gentle, glowing lights twinkling like fireflies. It was a soft, fluffy shape, almost as if the sky itself had been shaped into a train. The carriages were like puffs of clouds, so light and airy that they seemed to float with the wind. As it neared the meadow, the train slowed down, its soft chugging sound like the sound of a distant lullaby. Finn could hardly believe his eyes. He stepped forward, his heart racing with excitement, and climbed aboard the first carriage, which was soft and cozy like a cloud bed. The conductor, a gentle, wise owl with feathers like silver mist, greeted him with a friendly smile. "Welcome aboard, young traveler," the owl said in a voice as soft as the breeze. "Are you ready for a journey through the skies?" Finn nodded eagerly, his eyes wide with wonder as the train began to float gently into the air, rising higher and higher. As they soared above the meadow, Finn could see the landscape below, bathed in the soft light of the moon, the trees swaying in the night breeze, and the stars beginning to twinkle brighter. The train glided effortlessly, as if it were part of the night sky itself. The air was soft and cool, and Finn felt his body relax as the gentle motion of the train rocked him into a peaceful state. As the Fuzzy Sky Train traveled higher, the clouds around them grew thicker, and the world below seemed to disappear, replaced by a sea of stars. The train floated past planets and shimmering constellations, and Finn could hear the soft whisper of the wind through the carriages, like a lullaby singing the night to sleep. The inside of the train was filled with the soft glow of starlight, casting shadows that danced along the walls. Finn found a seat by the window, where he could see the twinkling stars and the wisps of clouds drifting past. Every now and then, he would catch sight of a glowing firefly or a soft-winged creature flying by, adding to the magic of the journey. The conductor smiled at him from the front, and Finn felt as though he had stepped into a dream. The train continued its peaceful journey, floating through the night sky, passing over mountains covered in sparkling snow and through valleys where rivers glowed with the light of the stars. As they traveled, Finn's eyelids grew heavier, and soon he was resting his head against the soft, cloud-like seat. The gentle rocking of the train, the soft hum of the wind, and the peaceful glow of the stars made him feel as if he were floating in the very heart of a dream. The Fuzzy Sky Train didn't hurry. It moved at its own peaceful pace, taking its time to show Finn the beauty of the night, the magic of the stars, and the comfort of the quiet sky. He felt safe and happy, knowing that this journey was one meant for restful souls. As the train gently slowed, Finn knew that it was time to return to the meadow below, but he didn't want the journey to end. The Fuzzy Sky Train began its descent, floating gently back toward the earth, and Finn could feel his heart full of peace and wonder. The train landed softly, like a feather falling from the sky, and Finn stepped off with a smile, his eyes shining with the joy of the adventure. He waved goodbye to the gentle owl conductor, who smiled and tipped his hat, and as Finn walked back toward his home, he carried with him the magic of the journey, the soft glow of the stars, the gentle hum of the wind, and the peaceful feeling of having traveled on the Fuzzy Sky Train, a place where dreams and reality danced together in the quiet sky. High above the quiet world, beyond the soft clouds and the sleepy mountains, there was a hidden place, a secret haven where the stars themselves gathered every night to sip their honey tea. It was a magical place, far away from the hustle and bustle of the world below, where the air was always warm and sweet, filled with the fragrance of blooming moonflowers and the gentle hum of the universe. This enchanted spot was known only to the stars, who would travel there when the moonlight was just right, their lights flickering softly as they floated across the velvet sky. The stars would come from every corner of the night sky, some big and bold, others small and delicate, but all were drawn to the same place where the honey tea awaited. The tea, golden and fragrant, was brewed from the nectar of the dream flowers that only bloomed under the light of the full moon, their petals shimmering with the glow of starlight. These flowers were carefully tended by the moonkeeper, a wise and gentle creature with feathers like the softest clouds, who spent her days weaving dreams and collecting the sweet nectar from the flowers for the stars. Each evening, as the first light of the evening painted the sky in shades of lavender and soft blue, the stars would gather around the moonkeeper's table, a delicate thing made from silver threads that sparkled like the Milky Way. The table would be set with crystal cups that caught the starlight, filling the air with soft glimmers, and the honey tea would be poured into the cups, each sip tasting like the sweetness of 1,000 dreams. As the stars drank their tea, they would share stories of the worlds they watched over, of the dreams they whispered into the night, and of the quiet beauty they witnessed from their places in the sky. It was here, in this peaceful corner of the universe, that the stars felt most at home, their hearts filled with warmth and joy. On one particularly calm evening, a small star named Lyra, with a twinkle in her eye and a heart full of wonder, arrived late to the gathering. She had been busy watching over the sleeping world below, making sure that the children's dreams were sweet and the night was peaceful. But now, with the moon glowing brightly and the air filled with the scent of honey tea, Lyra felt a sense of calm wash over her. She floated gracefully to the table, her light shimmering in the gentle breeze, and the moonkeeper smiled warmly at her, offering her a cup of the golden tea. Lyra took the cup in her tiny hands, her light flickering as she brought it to her lips. The tea was warm and sweet, tasting of distant memories and quiet moments, and as she sipped, she felt her own heart fill with peace. The stars around her were laughing softly, sharing tales of faraway lands and distant worlds, and for a moment, Lyra felt as though she was a part of something bigger, something more beautiful than she had ever imagined. As the night deepened, the stars finished their tea and settled back into their places in the sky, their lights glowing softly as they prepared to watch over the world once more. The moonkeeper, with a gentle wave of her wings, sent them back to their posts, where they would continue their duties until the dawn. Lyra, with her heart full of happiness, floated back to her place among the stars, ready to share her light with the world below. She knew that the stars, as they sipped their honey tea in that hidden, peaceful place, were more than just lights in the sky. They were the guardians of dreams, the whispers of the night, and the keepers of all the gentle, beautiful things that filled the universe. And as Lyra settled into her place, she smiled softly, knowing that every night, when the world below was quiet and still, the stars would gather once more, sipping their honey tea, their lights glowing softly in the peaceful, moonlit sky. A reminder that even in the quietest moments, magic was always just a sip away. In a quiet valley, where the wind whispered through the fields of golden grass, stood a magnificent tree unlike any other. Its branches stretched wide and strong, with leaves that shimmered like emeralds in the sun. This tree was known as the windmill tree, and it was the home to a special nest, a nap nest, that had been built high in the branches. The nap nest wasn't just any ordinary nest. It was soft, warm, and perfect for drifting off into the deepest, most peaceful dreams. It was carefully woven from the gentle breeze of the valley and the tender touch of the wind that danced around the tree. Every evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the sky turned to shades of purple and pink, the windmill tree would come to life. The leaves would rustle like a soft lullaby, and the wind would begin to sing its quiet song. Birds would settle into the lower branches, tucking themselves into cozy nooks, while the magical nap nest high in the tree waited for its next visitor. That evening, a little rabbit named Wren, with soft fur and the most peaceful heart, wandered into the valley after a long day of exploring. Wren had traveled far and wide, hopping through fields and forests, but tonight, the gentle call of the windmill tree had caught her attention. The soft, swirling breeze seemed to beckon her, urging her to follow. Curiously, Wren hopped closer, her ears twitching in the soft night air. As she neared the tree, she saw the nap nest glowing softly in the last light of the evening. It looked so inviting, like a cloud that had settled among the branches, just waiting for someone to rest. Wren's tiny paws carried her up the tree, step by step, until she reached the nest, which felt as soft and warm as a blanket. She curled up inside, the nest gently rocking with the wind's breath, as if the tree itself was whispering a lullaby just for her. The moon rose high above, casting its gentle light over the valley, and the stars began to twinkle like tiny diamonds scattered across the night sky. Wren's eyes grew heavy as the peaceful song of the wind filled her ears, the sound of it swirling around her like a protective blanket. The nap nest cradled her in its soft embrace, and with each gentle sway, she felt her body relax deeper and deeper. As Wren drifted into a peaceful sleep, the windmill tree continued to sing its lullaby, the breeze wrapping around her like a tender hug. The stars above twinkled brighter, as if they, too, were watching over her, keeping her safe in the comfort of the night. In the quiet stillness of the valley, the nap nest became the perfect place for dreams. The windmill tree stood tall and proud, its branches swaying gently in the wind, as the valley settled into a peaceful, quiet slumber. The wind carried soft whispers through the leaves, telling stories of faraway lands and adventures yet to be had, while Wren, nestled in the nap nest, dreamed of magical places and gentle breezes. The nap nest in the windmill tree wasn't just a place for sleep, it was a place where dreams took flight, where the wind carried hopes and wishes, and where the soft embrace of nature wrapped around every traveler who needed a rest. And as the night deepened, Wren slept soundly, knowing that the windmill tree would keep her safe and warm until the first light of dawn, when she would wake, ready for another day of adventures, with the peaceful memory of the nap nest to carry with her always. As the golden sun began to dip behind the hills, casting a soft amber glow over the land, there was a magical moment that always unfolded beneath the ancient willow tree by the river. This was the place where the leaves, delicate and silver-edged, would sway gently in the evening breeze, casting dancing shadows across the ground. It was a place of peace, where the whispers of the wind told stories and the soft rustling of the leaves carried a rhythm all their own. Tonight, as the first stars twinkled in the dusky sky, a little fox named Luna wandered into the meadow, feeling the warm embrace of the evening air. She had been exploring the forest all day, her paws light on the earth, and her heart full of wonder. As she came upon the willow tree, she paused, drawn to the soothing movement of the leaves. The shadows they cast on the ground seemed to beckon her, as though the night itself were inviting her to join in a quiet dance. With a soft sigh, Luna settled beneath the tree, her fluffy tail curling gently around her paws. The wind picked up just enough to send the leaves swaying in a graceful rhythm, their shadows moving slowly across the earth, swirling and twirling in the growing twilight. Luna's eyes fluttered closed as she listened to the soft whispers of the leaves, the song of the wind wrapping around her like a lullaby. It was as though the willow tree had come alive, and the shadows it cast on the ground were not just shapes, but dancers in the night, weaving a gentle, slow ballet that invited Luna to join in. And so, with each beat of the wind, Luna began to move, slowly at first, then with more grace, her small paws lifting as if she, too, were part of the dance. Her body moved gently in time with the soft rustle of the leaves, the shadows weaving around her in a quiet, flowing pattern. The dance was a peaceful one, slow and serene, as though the night itself was taking its time to unfold, inviting Luna to rest in the beauty of the moment. She felt the cool breeze on her fur and the soft glow of the stars above, and for the first time that evening, her heart felt completely still, free from the rush of the day. The shadows continued their slow, rhythmic dance, and Luna, lost in the gentle rhythm, let herself become one with the quiet world around her. There was no hurry, no need to rush, just the dance, the wind, and the soft, comforting whispers of the leaves. As Luna danced beneath the willow tree, she felt herself becoming part of the night, part of the shadows that swirled around her. Her movements were light, like the breeze, and with each soft step, she felt more at peace. The world seemed to slow down, as if time itself were taking a deep, slow breath, letting everything settle into a quiet harmony. The dance was not one of energy or excitement, but of tranquility, a dance of calm, where every movement flowed into the next, just as the shadows flowed across the ground. The stars above twinkled softly, casting their own light on the dance below. As Luna continued to move with the shadows, her heart lighter with each passing moment. Eventually, as the night deepened and the wind slowed, Luna's movements became gentler, her eyes closing as the peace of the evening enveloped her. The dance of the shadow leaves had come to an end, but the feeling of it stayed with her, wrapped around her like a soft blanket. Luna curled up beneath the willow tree, her tail tucking around her as she drifted off to sleep, the wind still whispering its lullaby in the trees, the shadows now still and gentle. And as Luna slept, the slow dance of the leaves continued, carried on by the wind, a quiet reminder that even in the stillness of the night, there was a rhythm to everything, a dance that flowed gently in time with the heartbeats of the world. On a soft, moonlit hill, where the stars shimmered like 1,000 tiny jewels in the velvet sky, a gentle flock of sheep gathered each night beneath the watchful gaze of the old oak tree. The night was their special time, a time to drift into dreams and weave stories from the whispers of the wind. The wool of these sheep was unlike any other, woven from the dreams of the world itself, soft and glowing with the light of the stars. As the evening breeze brushed through the meadow, the sheep would gather in a quiet circle, their wool shimmering gently in the moonlight, and they would begin to hum. The soft melody, carried on the wind, was the sound of dreams taking flight, of memories being woven into the fabric of the night. Each sheep's wool would begin to shimmer and glow, as if it were alive with the stories of the world, and the whispers of the dreams they carried would dance through the night air like a soft lullaby. One little lamb, named Lila, had always been curious about the wool of the dreaming sheep. She had heard stories from the elder sheep, tales of how the wool could carry dreams to faraway places, of how it could wrap around the world like a blanket and bring peace to anyone it touched. But Lila had never experienced it for herself. One cool evening, as the stars began to twinkle above, Lila decided to lie down beside the others, her soft, silvery wool blending with the moonlight. She closed her eyes, listening to the soft hum of the sheep around her, and soon, the whispers of the wind began to fill the air. It was as if the wind itself was speaking, carrying the soft whispers of the dreams that the sheep were weaving into their wool. The soft glow of the wool around her began to soothe her, wrapping her in a blanket of calm and peace. Lila felt herself drift, her mind floating on the whispers, as if her very thoughts were being carried away by the gentle breeze. As she lay there, her wool began to shimmer, and she felt the warmth of the dreams wrap around her like a cozy blanket. She could hear the soft whispers of the wind, telling her stories of faraway places, of beautiful lands filled with lush meadows and sparkling rivers. The dreams that filled her mind were soft and kind, full of love and comfort, and they filled her heart with peace. It was as though the wool of the dreaming sheep was not just a thing that wrapped around them, but a magic that connected them all to the world, to the dreams of others, and to the quiet beauty of the night. As Lila drifted deeper into sleep, the soft hum of the sheep and the whispers of the wind seemed to guide her through the dream world. She floated among the stars, her wool shining brightly like a soft, glowing cloud, and she felt the warmth of the dreams wrap around her like a soft embrace. In this peaceful world of dreams, Lila felt safe and loved, as if the very fabric of the night itself had wrapped her in a blanket of comfort. She floated through a world of soft clouds and glowing moonbeams, where the stars whispered gentle secrets and the winds carried the laughter of distant lands. As the night deepened, the sheep continued to hum, their wool glowing softly in the moonlight, and the dreams they carried were shared with the world, spreading peace and comfort to all who needed it. The gentle whisper of the wind carried the dreams through the night, wrapping the world in a soft blanket of love and warmth, and as Lila slept peacefully beneath the moonlit sky, she knew that the wool of the dreaming sheep would continue to weave stories and dreams for as long as the stars shone above. And in the quiet stillness of the night, with the gentle hum of the sheep and the soft glow of their wool, the world rested, wrapped in the warmth of a dream-filled embrace. As the sun dipped below the horizon and the soft colors of twilight painted the sky, Luna, a little owl with soft, silvery feathers, found herself at the edge of a gentle stream that wound its way through the heart of the forest. The air was cool and filled with the scent of earth and flowers, and the quiet sound of water lapping against the riverbank filled the stillness of the evening. Luna had come to the stream many times before, but tonight felt different. The stars had just begun to twinkle in the sky above, and a soft, peaceful hush seemed to have settled over the forest. On this night, Luna had a special plan in mind, a plan to set her very own featherboat adrift on the sleepy stream. The featherboat was made of soft, silken feathers she had gathered from the wispy clouds that drifted lazily across the sky. Each feather was smooth and light, and when placed together, they formed a boat so light that it seemed to float as if it were made of pure air. Luna carefully placed the boat on the surface of the stream, watching as it caught the current and began to glide slowly away, its delicate form drifting like a soft, floating cloud. The water moved gently, and the boat, with its gentle, feathery structure, swayed as it followed the winding path of the sleepy stream. Luna fluttered her wings and took off, gliding silently through the evening air, her keen eyes watching over the boat as it moved along the water. The night around her felt peaceful, as though the world had wrapped itself in a soft, comforting blanket. The stars above twinkled like tiny lights guiding the way, while the trees along the riverbank whispered softly, their leaves rustling in a quiet lullaby. The stream, with its calm and steady flow, seemed to hold Luna's featherboat in its gentle embrace, taking it along its winding path through the heart of the forest. As Luna followed the boat, she felt a sense of tranquility settle in her chest, the quiet rhythm of the water soothing her heart. The stream meandered through a meadow where wildflowers bloomed, and Luna watched as the flowers bent slightly in the soft breeze, like they were nodding in time with the boat's journey. The moon, now rising high above, cast a soft glow over the scene, and Luna felt as though she were part of a beautiful dream. The feather boat moved slowly, its journey a peaceful one, gliding with ease through the quiet night. The ripples in the water were soft and gentle, and with each one, the boat moved ever forward, drifting toward the next bend in the stream. Luna's wings carried her silently above the water, and she watched as the world around her settled deeper into sleep. The stream seemed to carry with it the dreams of the forest, the whispers of the trees, and the soft lullaby of the wind. It was a journey of quiet peace, and Luna, in her heart, knew that this was the moment she had been waiting for, the moment when the world slowed down and everything became one peaceful, flowing dream. As the boat continued its journey, Luna followed it with a sense of calm, knowing that there was no need to hurry, for the night was endless and filled with gentle possibilities. With each moment, Luna felt herself growing sleepier, the soft glow of the moon above and the gentle flow of the stream lulling her into a deeper sense of relaxation. She circled the feather boat one last time before finding a soft spot in a nearby tree, tucking herself comfortably into the crook of a branch, her wings folding gently around her. The feather boat drifted farther down the stream, its journey continuing beneath the stars, while Luna, safe and warm, closed her eyes and let the peaceful rhythm of the night carry her into the sweetest of dreams. The sleepy stream continued to whisper its lullaby, and the stars above shimmered brightly, guiding Luna into a world of dreams, where every ripple of the water and every soft breeze felt like a gentle hug from the night itself. In a quiet, sleepy valley nestled between rolling hills, where the stars hung low and bright in the sky, the night wind had a special task to complete each evening. It was no ordinary wind. This wind was gentle and kind, with a soft, soothing whisper that carried the sweet scent of jasmine and lavender. Each night, the wind would travel across the valley, gently brushing against the trees, flowing over the meadows, and sweeping through the quiet village at the edge of the forest. But this was not just any breeze. It was the night wind, a wind that painted dreams. As the first stars twinkled into place, the night wind would gather the dreams of the sleeping world, each one unique and delicate, like a brushstroke waiting to be made. With a gentle sigh, it would blow softly through the open windows of the village, carrying the dreams it had collected and weaving them into a beautiful tapestry in the sky. The dreams were like colors, swirling together in the night, mixing to create beautiful landscapes, magical creatures, and peaceful moments. The villagers, deep in their slumber, never knew of the night wind's work, but every morning when they awoke, the world felt just a little brighter, a little softer, as if the night itself had painted a new day. In a cozy little cottage at the edge of the village, a young girl named Ilara lay in bed, her heart full of wonder. She had always heard the whispers of the night wind but had never fully understood its magic. She had seen the sky filled with the most beautiful colors, like the soft pinks of a sunrise, the deep blues of twilight, and the shimmering golds of distant stars. But tonight, as she lay with her eyes closed, she felt something different. A soft, cool breeze brushing her face, carrying with it the faintest scent of roses. As she breathed in, the wind whispered a soft song, a melody so sweet and gentle that it seemed to curl around her heart. Ilara's eyes fluttered open, and in that moment, she saw something she had never seen before. The sky outside her window was alive with movement. The night wind was at work. The dreams it had collected were swirling through the air, painting the sky with vibrant colors. She could see the soft, swirling strokes of lavender and blue, the golden hues of dawn beginning to break over the horizon, and the delicate sparkle of stardust floating through the air. The night wind painted in slow, graceful swirls, like a painter working on a canvas, adding layer after layer of beauty to the world. Ilara's breath caught in her throat as she watched, her heart filling with the beauty of it all. The night wind, so gentle and kind, was creating something that no one else could see, dreams made real in the colors of the night. With each passing moment, the wind added new strokes to the sky, as if painting a dream just for her. As Ilara drifted into sleep, she felt the cool breeze surrounding her, and in that moment, she realized that the night wind had woven a dream for her. It was a dream of a world where the sky was painted with the softest hues, where the stars twinkled with the laughter of distant lands, and where the air was filled with the sweet scent of jasmine and roses. It was a dream of peace, of quiet moments where the world stood still, wrapped in the arms of the night. And as the night carried on, the night wind continued its gentle work, painting dreams for everyone, each one unique and beautiful, woven together in the tapestry of the sky. The world slept beneath the soft brushstrokes of the night wind, and when the morning came, everything felt just a little more magical, as though the dreams of the night had painted the world anew. The wind, now calm, would retreat into the hills, waiting for the next night to return, ready to paint once more, filling the world with dreams and wonder.